ready for the game and nice enough to join us now. Outstanding ESPN NBA writer. He's been covering the Lakers, among other things, Dave McMenamin. Dave, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Hope you're having a happy holiday season. LeBron seems a little grumpy this holiday season. I know you either attended or you tweeted some of the things he had to say today before the game. It's interesting. What kind of state of mind is LeBron here right now with the foot injury and with the team struggling the way they are?
Yeah, well, tonight in Sacramento, the makings of a momentous occasion for LeBron, back in the same city where he played his first NBA game. Once he gets past the 10-minute mark, he officially becomes the guy to have played the most minutes in the regular season in NBA history, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But rather than kind of reveling in the celebratory factor of that accomplishment, he was pretty frank about the state of today's NBA. He was asked about the upcoming NBA All-Star game in February. The league is going to have a different format. I know we've seen some format changes over the last decade or so. You saw, rather than East versus West, you had team captains and drafting of teams that way. You had a live draft one time in Utah right before the game started. You had the Elam ending where the teams played towards a target score rather than a timed thing. And all of those factors had varying degrees of success. But last year's All-Star game was a travesty. I think it was 211 to 186. There was absolutely not even a whisper of defense. Adam Silver was there with television executives that were from various companies looking to pay the NBA billions of dollars to show their product. And he got Larry Bird to talk to one locker room and Magic Johnson to talk to another about the importance of playing with pride, and it still didn't work. So the league scrapped that plan. They're going to have a round robin this year. 24 all-star NBA players. We split up into 3 teams of 8. There's going to be a 4th team of 8 comprised of rising stars players from Friday night. And they're going to play games to 40. LeBron said, hey, listen, something needed to change based on what we saw the All-Star of the past. He didn't bury that plan, but he said, we'll have to see. He said, but one thing I can say is there's bigger problems going on with our game today than just the All-Star game. And then he said, we are shooting as a league way too bleeping many threes. And, listen, I think this is where the conversation becomes interesting because, listen, I'm someone who I've spent my entire career covering the NBA. I've been fortunate enough to do it. It's a dream job. I love the NBA, even in warts and all of today's game. But I think, I look at some of my friends who I grew up with in college and high school who remain sports fans, even as they are dealing with the responsibilities of being an adult and taking their kids to school and, making sure you're paying the bills on time. And when they kick back with their free time to still be a sports fan, anecdotally, it seems less and less of them are making sure they're watching the NBA. They're still watching the NFL, watching baseball playoffs, college football for sure. But the NBA is in danger of becoming a marginalized sport, especially when we talk about guys like LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant on the back 9, if not on like the back 3. And I think, this now's the time to have a conversation about trying to make it a better product.
Dave, what's up, man? Kyle Draper here, Drapes. Hey, let me ask you this though. Let's continue this conversation because I saw, just some random post on social media, and they talked about how NHL ratings are down, MLB ratings are down, and specifically with the NHL, you never hear their league talking about, we got to fundamentally change the game. Why is it mostly an NBA problem? Could it just be a sports in general problem? But I know you mentioned your friends still watch MLB and college football. Could it be just a viewership numbers in sports in general are down?
I think some of it's definitely a fair point to make because let's actually look at the entire landscape. NBA players, though, still remain culturally relevant. So we actually hear what they say. I mean, can you tell me the last time the NHL made a headline for anything? And so even if they were saying how great their game is, I don't know if we're going to hear them. But these NBA players and some of the players that have since talked about the All-Star Games, for instance. So LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Anthony Davis. All four of those guys played on the Olympic team. They're international superstars. They are a brand in and of themselves outside of the team that they play for, outside of the NBA, quite frankly. But they're being frank about what they're seeing, what they're feeling, and as a consequence, the voice is actually being heard because there is still, there's interest there in terms of who they are as an individual. There just isn't interest in day-to-day watching the games. Like Adam Silver tried to make a distinction between the two things in Las Vegas this week when he was there for the NBA Cup. We still have the interest. We still have the business viability and internationally, put up against any other sport. There's more NBA fans around the world than there are NFL fans. But domestically, it's hard to find the people watching the games. And again, yes, that is true to other sports as well, but not all sports. I mean, certainly college football and the NFL are I think the ratings show it. The numbers show it are still as popular as ever. The NBA is not there yet, but they are in danger of becoming like a niche sport. And, that there's business, Adam can talk all he wants about the fans that the NBA have around the world, but those fans aren't going to, pay for the people whose jobs are working for all these NBA teams, whose jobs will be in jeopardy unless things change here domestically.
Dave McMenamin, our guest here as we get ready for the Kings and the Lakers. Dave, which coach would you say is more unhappy with the way his team is defending these days, Mike Brown or JJ Redick?
That's a good question. I think, we haven't gotten a possession after possession after possession after possession rant from JJ yet. So I think we got to make sure that tonight I'll be checking out on Mike, make sure he's doing okay. But anyway, both these teams, the West is pretty crowded. You look at, certainly OKC has separated themselves a bit, but you're going from 2 down to 11. There's a bunch of teams that you give a coin flip as to who's better any given week, and some of that has to do with health. We've seen Golden State and Phoenix not look the same type of team when they've been hurt. I believe in both the Lakers and the Kings as being we're going to see them in the playoffs, and they're going to be a team that, quite frankly, nobody wants to play. I know on the Lakers side of things, the Kings are a team internally, as I talked to folks over the last couple of years, like the Lakers, they don't like playing the Kings. They think they're tough. They think they're quick. They think they're a matchup nightmare. They think they're well coached. And so, sometimes it's just grass is greener type stuff. Like, the Kings fans might be like, oh man, what happened to the Beam team from a couple of years ago that was ready to go face the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs and all that stuff and went 7 games. We've fallen off. Well, I mean, there's still some teams around the league, Lakers included, who look at the Kings like, man, that's a really good basketball team.
Dave McMenamin joining us. Dave, when you look at the Lakers and some of their shortcomings, the trade deadline less than 2 months away, do you feel Rob Pelinka feels some pressure that he has to shake things up, something has to get done? And how active do you expect the Lakers to be?
Yeah, I mean, certainly. Listen, Rob, from his public statements and certainly JJ's public statements, that they are still considering themselves searching for a championship. That's the standard that they want to be about. And so what we've seen on the court thus far, the Lakers are not a bad team by any means. They were 10-4 at one point. They've had their troubles since then, but they don't look like a championship team. And so there should be pressure, otherwise, why go out and say that we want to be trying to play for a championship? When you make a statement like that, you have to back it up with action. And there's a couple of clear problem areas for this team. We look at their size, and some of that. Obviously, Jackson Hayes had some promising moments earlier in the year, but his ankle injuries basically kept him out of the lineup, the last 5 weeks almost. That's tough. So you need a big man. You look, you want to get another 3-and-D type of wing. They've had limited results from the guys on that roster that play that position. Max Christie is the latest guy to get the audition in the starting lineup to be it. And see what he can do with it. And, they love Max Christie, homegrown talent. They got out of Michigan State. He's still, he's in his third year, but he's still like 21 years old. And so there's a lot of promise there, but we'll see if he'd be able to deliver in a bigger role there, or if they really got to upgrade and try to get, you name it, Cam Johnson or Dorian Finney-Smith. Some of the names you're going to hear, Jeremy Grant, from teams that don't look to be contending this year that will end up being sellers. And then, shooting, JJ Redick came in saying that he was going to get this team shooting more threes and making more threes. JJ was one of the most accomplished shooters the game's ever seen before he retired. I don't know where they're going to find that one. the look at Milwaukee, like the AJ Greens of the world, you got to be, your scouting department's going to be doing your job to find those guys before the season starts. Because I don't think too many of them are going to be being moved at this stage of the game.
Mm-hmm. Dave McMenamin is our guest. You mentioned, the Lakers would be looking for, among other things, a 3-and-D wing, and you mentioned Cam Johnson. Doesn't it seem, Dave, like just about every team in the West, just about every team is looking for 3-and-D wings? That's the state of the game now, which just means the prices for some of the guys you mentioned, you'd figure they're going to go up and up and up before the deadline, right?
Absolutely. Any team that is sniffing the postseason could use another guy like that. And the Lakers have 3 future first-round picks. They're able to include in deals if they are separate deals. So they can do 3 separate deals involving 1 first-round pick, or if they wanted to use 2 picks at the same time. This is like mumbo-jumbo from the CBA, but it has to be said. If they want to use multiple picks, they can only include 2 of them in one deal. They can't do all 3 in one deal. So, 2 future first-round picks, that could be very valuable and enticing no matter who is involved in the conversation. OKC, they have more picks than God right now. But based on how we've seen Sam Presti be shrewd with that team, I don't expect them to, even though they're kind of circling the wagons and being a top tier team right now, and they're going to get shipped home and go back. I don't see them just completely changing their value system when it comes to trades, that they would outbid a team saying, well, we'll give you 4 first-round picks for what's normally a 2 first-round pick type of talent. So my point being, I do think the Lakers will be involved and have a realistic package to offer for some of the players that are attracted out there. It's just whether they choose the player wants the Lakers situation. For instance, Dennis Schroeder went to the Golden State Warriors. The Lakers were interested in him. Dennis has spent 2 stints with the Lakers over the last 5 years. Dennis chose the Warriors. Like, had Dennis chose the Lakers would have been able to have him for a similar price that Golden State paid, which was a couple second-round picks and an injured player in D'Anthony Melton. But Dennis chose the Warriors. So that's, to me, maybe could be a bigger obstacle here. What type of players are going to be choosing the Lakers? We saw it happen last year when Spencer Dinwiddie chose the Lakers over the Mavericks. He basically told us that was the wrong decision to make when he signed with the Mavericks this summer when he became a free agent again.
Mm-hmm. Dave, we appreciate your time very much. Before we let you go, to that point, I know this is water under the Tower Bridge here in Sacramento now, but were the Lakers ever in, to any extent, on DeRozan? Did they have any interest in DeMar DeRozan this summer?
This past summer, yes, they did. I mean, the real interest was the summer of 21, and LeBron James, was recruiting DeMar and was trying to make a play there, and From my understanding, the Lakers were unwilling to commit to signing DeMar long term if that trade was done. And so, DeMar's representatives basically said, well, then, we're no longer interested in making this happen. And then the Lakers subsequently traded for Russell Westbrook. And, that ended up being, quite frankly, one of the worst trades in franchise history for the Lakers. So, the Lakers, I think if they gave them truth serum, they'd love to go back in time and have DeMar DeRozan on their team.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Happy holidays. We'll see you in a little bit. Thanks for your time.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Yep.
All right, Dave.
Yeah.
All right, man.
So that's the story. LeBron, today holding court on the issues